and the omnibus. So I was forced into the Archers when I was a child. And look, it's come back to bite me later on. I'm awash with this stuff.
The Archers is the world's longest-running radio show, with more than 15,000 episodes broadcast. Despite being a rural flavor show, The Archers is recorded in the heart of...
Okay, let's unpack this. We have a really dense stack of material today for our deep dive. We're looking into community dynamics, really focusing on that question, what's the actual price of a second chance? Especially when, past trauma is still very much a living memory for people.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here, I think, is how quickly the conflict we're looking at moves beyond just simple logistics.
Right.
It starts looking like a minor job dispute, but it escalates fast. It becomes this profound, kind of multi-layered look at family loyalty, community forgiveness, and honestly, the really difficult path of rehabilitation. And our sources show the battle isn't just external, it's also happening inside the hearts of the people who love the person at the center of it all, George.
Exactly. The immediate flashpoint, the thing kicking it all off, revolves around Susan, who's George's grandmother, and her position, which she loves, at the local shop and post office. George is back, back in the community after serving prison time.
And his presence alone is just causing this huge reaction, a seismic reaction, really.
So we start with Susan. She's under immense pressure, both internal and external, it seems. She's talking to Joy, another volunteer at the shop. And it's clear Susan is actually prepared to resign from a job she explicitly says she loves.
Yeah.
Just because of how the community is reacting to George volunteering there.
That willingness, to sacrifice her own job, it really shows the fierce, protective loyalty she feels for him now. It's powerful.
But Joy urges her to stay, obviously. But she clarifies something really crucial. She says this isn't just a complaint from, one busybody.
Right. It's more widespread.
Yeah, she calls it a shared concern among the volunteers. And that suggests the opposition to George, to his reintegration, it's kind of systemic, within the community's social structure.
And she makes that concern incredibly personal. She brings up her own son, Mick.
Oh.
Yeah, she reveals Mick was, and these are her words, properly shaken up just by seeing George. And she notes something interesting while she herself struggles to recall the specifics of the incident George was involved in.
Right, the details fade for some.
Exactly. But Mick, he remembers every second. And that single detail, I think that's the key to understanding the whole dilemma here.
Yeah.
This isn't really about fear of what George might do in the future. It's about the paralyzing grip of past trauma. It's still raw for some people.
Which creates this impossible choice for Susan, doesn't it?
Totally impossible.
Yeah.
She counters, understandably, that George has paid his debt. He spent a year of his young life in that prison, and he desperately needs the stability of his home village now.
Okay, so when Susan actually tells George about her plan, about resigning, his reaction is quite striking.
Yeah, what does he do?
He immediately offers to step aside himself. He tells Susan flat out, you can't do that. He stresses that she is the heart of that shop.
On the surface, that sounds incredibly mature.
It does, but you have to ask, right, is this purely altruism?
Right.
Or is George maybe pragmatically securing his own future? By removing the conflict, he keeps access to his grandmother and the stability she represents.
That's the critical tension, isn't it? And the source material shows him backing this up with genuine effort. He clarifies his volunteering was always meant to be temporary.
Oh, okay.
And he's now actively applying for paid jobs. So he's working towards that long-term independence, recognizing that his presence right now is kind of dependent on Susan keeping her role, her stability.
So that demonstration of maturity, it works. It resolves the immediate crisis at the shop.
Yeah, it does, and it preserves Susan's role, which is crucial for everyone, really.
Okay, so the conversation that shifts, it moves beautifully, or maybe tragically, as you said earlier, from the community tension right into these deep-seated family scars.
Exactly. George expresses this really profound appreciation for Susan standing up for him, offering to resign, but even that appreciation is layered with this complex history.
Right.
We have to remember, and this is key, Susan was the one who originally gave him into the police.
Yeah, that's a huge piece of their backstory.
It is. That past action, that duty she felt then, it created this kind of foundational breach of trust. And you can see they're actively trying to heal from that.
So her fierce defense of him now feels almost like an attempt to repair that past choice. like a grandmother's love overriding that painful duty she performed.
I think that's a very fair reading. But the immediate threat to George's confidence, the thing really getting to him right now, isn't Susan. He admits he still feels this antagonism from his granddad. He laments, he always wants to pull me back down.
Wow. That phrase, pull me back down, it suggests a real pattern, doesn't it? A long-term thing.
Absolutely. A pattern of, let's call it familial skepticism. And our sources actually crystallized this feeling around a specific past conflict. It involved a ring intended for Amber.
Like ring incident, yes.
This small object becomes this really powerful proxy for a much, much larger argument about support and belief within the family.
George's perspective was that his granddad couldn't give me his best ring. Why does that matter so much, Dan?
Well, because for George, being denied the best ring...
Introducing the Archer's mug, where elegance meets everyday comfort. Crafted from premium white ceramic, designed with vibrant peekaboo colors inside, simple, modern, and stylish. Start your day the Archer's way, with warmth, familiarity, and the comfort of voices you've come to love. As the stories unfold on the Archers, let this mug become part of your daily ritual, a small reminder of life in Ambridge. Practical for every home, dishwasher and microwave safe. Available in 2 sizes, 11 ounces and 15 ounces, designed to fit your lifestyle. Enjoy your favorite drink in a mug that connects you to Britain's most beloved countryside story, The Archers. For more information and to order your very own The Archers mug, follow the link below and make it part of your daily routine.
Symbolizes a fundamental refusal. A refusal of love, of protection, maybe even belief from his granddad.
Right. It reinforces that feeling he mentioned of being constantly undermined, of being left with nothing right when he felt he needed that family support the most.
And Susan, she does try to defend her husband. She says, he thought he was doing what was right, love, trying to smooth it over.
The damage is done, it sounds like.
Pretty much. George perceives his efforts, like trying to start this life with Amber, as just being negated by this constant skepticism, mainly from his granddad. This is the internal challenge George faces now, isn't it? Convincing his own family, maybe primarily his granddad, that he's worthy of their best, even while the community is still figuring things out.
It's a lot for him to carry. Fortunately, though, that external drama, the shop situation, that is settled for now.
Yes, thankfully. Susan confirms later to Joy that she's staying because George was, as she puts it, very understanding. He found a path forward that didn't need her sacrifice.
Good. Okay. One fire put out, at least.
But with that immediate fire at the shop dealt with, George immediately pivots. He takes that hard-won stability and tries to, well, almost force permanence in his personal life.
So.
We see him transition almost instantly into this really high-stakes romantic moment. He proposes to Amber.
Wow, okay. He's not wasting any time.
Yeah.
He's trying to establish roots, like now.
Exactly. He asks Amber to marry him again, properly this time, referencing that whole mess with the first ring attempt.
Does he have a new ring?
He does, and she confirms it's beautiful and, crucially, it fits this time.
Okay, progress.
But the urgency, the sheer speed of it all is really telling. He's rushing the logistics like crazy. Yeah, he's already researched a village hall, not in Ambridge, but nearby, one that does weddings and apparently has availability early next year. He's even excited about the decorations, mentioning drapey things.
Drapey things. Okay,
Yeah.
So he's really pushing this forward fast. It feels like he's trying to control an uncertain future by just locking down happiness, locking down stability immediately.
That's exactly how it reads. And Amber's response is the crucial counterpoint here. It's the brake pedal to his acceleration.
She accepts the proposal, though.
She accepts, yes. But she's noticeably subdued. Almost immediately suggests, there's no huge rush. George picks up on it. He sees she looks sad and instantly diagnoses the next hurdle, external validation, specifically her parents.
Of course. He knew this was coming, didn't he?
Seems like it. Amber admits her parents' disapproval is seriously bothering her. She describes them as set in their ways and hard to please.
So George just won a battle for a sliver of community acceptance by removing himself from the shop situation.
Right.
And now he faces this much harder, much more personal battle for acceptance from his future in-laws.
Exactly. And the proposed solution, it's a meeting. George hopes that if they can just see them together as a couple, it might change their minds.
But Amber sounds deeply pessimistic about that.
Very. She says something like, I don't know, George. I really don't. They're hard to please. The sources really suggest that if George thought winning over the village was tough,
Yeah.
winning over skeptical parents who are already set in their ways might be, well, almost impossible. A much steeper climb.
Okay, before we wrap things up, let's just touch on a really fascinating little detail from the periphery of all this, from a conversation between Lillian and Joy.
Right. Not everything is high drama.
Exactly. They take a moment, discuss some family news, Phoebe's baby arriving, Kate being practically bursting with excitement. But more interestingly, they talk about the environment.
Indeed. They discuss the impending release of beavers into the local environment, which is quite a big deal for the area.
Beavers, okay.
And Joy notes that Justin warned people, don't treat the beavers like they're exhibits at a zoo. They're wild creatures. People can't just go and gulp at them.
Right. So the community is being asked to accept this new kind of wild element and treat it with respectful distance.
Exactly. And Lillian, ever the pragmatist.
Yeah. What's her take?
She suggests setting up cameras so the community can watch the beavers online instead. A modern solution, right? Integrating something potentially disruptive into the community, but safely, digitally.
Huh. That's brilliant. But wait, there's a connection here, isn't there?
I think there's a crucial thematic connection, yes. It's fascinating that the community seems to be mobilizing, figuring out logistics to accept these new wild creatures, the beavers, planning for their safe long-term integration, yet they struggle so immensely with accepting George's reintegration, a human being trying to rebuild his life.
It really highlights the difference, doesn't it? Accepting nature's change, which feels maybe exciting, controllable via cameras,
Yeah.
versus accepting human change, which is just so complicated by painful memories, by trauma, by personal history.
Precisely. It's a really telling contrast in how the community approaches the wild.
A wonderful observation. And we absolutely cannot skip Lillian hilariously rejecting the title Great-Great-Auntie.
Oh, yes. Threatening to retreat to her cobweb bedroom if anyone dares call her that.
It just provides that little moment of necessary lightness, individual resistance amidst all this big community change and tension.
Definitely needed. Hashtag tag outro. So if we try and connect all this, try to see the bigger picture. What our sources really show is that a second chance, it isn't some legal guarantee you get automatically.
Right. It's not just about serving time.
Not at all. It's a gift, really. A gift of acceptance granted by the community, by family, and that acceptance is proving incredibly difficult for George to actually earn.
Even though he seems to be making all the right moves now.
Exactly. He's protecting his grandmother, he's actively seeking paid work, he's proposing marriage, he's doing the things society expects. But those past actions, and maybe that inherited skepticism from within his own family, they continue to define his future.
So what does this all really mean for the listener? I think the core tension facing George isn't just external, him versus the village or him versus the parents. It's also being played out internally inside the people who love him.
That's a great point. Susan had to balance her duty to the shop, her duty maybe to the community's feelings, with her love for her grandson.
And now Amber faces that same agonizing conflict. Her desire for George versus the expectations, the disapproval of her seemingly infringed parents.
And that leads us, I think, to a final provocative thought for you, the listener, to maybe mull over.
Okay.
George has experienced firsthand, right, with the ring incident, how denial of support, how that perceived lack of belief can trigger massive family turmoil. He knows how much that hurts.
Yeah.
Now, facing these skeptical future in-laws, he's trying to almost force happiness by rushing the wedding timeline, accelerating everything.
So the question is,
Will accelerating the commitment actually solve the deep-rooted issues, the issues of trust, of acceptance? Or is he maybe just trying to bypass the really hard work needed, the work to actually convince Amber's parents, maybe even himself, that he is truly worthy of their daughter, of the second chance?
is speed a solution or just a way to avoid the real problem? Something for you to chew on.
Yep.
Okay. And these are all part of the paraphernalia of production.
Yep, that's the bull bar. That's,
This one.
yep, that's.
Haley so wanted to be in their own place when their baby came. It's due in 2 months. Not much chance of that now. No. I mean, it would have been a stretch for them financially, mind, but I just wish there was something practical I could do to help them, Caroline.
I think The Archers has had this immense popularity over the years.
basically because it has always very accurately reflected the reality of life and living in a rural community at whatever